Hi guys, my name is Dr. Lee Sung. Welcome to my YouTube channel. When we talk about relationships and marriage, one of the most misunderstood topics in the world is intimacy. People often reduce it to something physical, but in reality, it is much deeper than that. It is about human connection, emotional bonding, psychological stability, and mutual understanding between two partners. If we want to understand why it matters so much for men in relationships, we have to look at it through a scientific, emotional, and real-life perspective, not through myths or social stereotypes. Human beings are not designed to live in emotional isolation. From a psychological point of view, every person has a deep need for attachment and bonding. This is not gender-based alone. It is part of human biology. But studies in relationship psychology show that men often express this need differently than women. For many men, emotional bonding is strongly connected with physical closeness, not because it is only physical, but because it represents trust, acceptance, and emotional safety. When a man enters a committed relationship or marriage, his brain starts associating his partner with a sense of security and emotional grounding. This is linked with hormones like oxytocin, which is released during moments of closeness and connection. Oxytocin is not just a chemical. It plays a major role in reducing stress, increasing bonding, and building long-term attachment between two people. This is one of the reasons why healthy intimacy often leads to a more stable emotional state in men. At the same time, another important hormone called dopamine is involved in motivation and reward. When a relationship is healthy, balanced, and emotionally satisfying, the brain releases dopamine in a natural way, which creates feelings of happiness and motivation. But when there is emotional distance or lack of connection, this system becomes unstable, which can lead to stress, frustration, and emotional withdrawal. It is very important to understand that when we say men need intimacy, we are not talking about desire in a superficial sense. We are talking about a deeper psychological requirement for emotional validation and connection. Many men do not openly express their emotional needs due to cultural expectations or social conditioning. In many societies, men are taught to appear strong, silent, and emotionally controlled. Because of this, their emotional needs often get redirected into physical expressions of connection instead of verbal communication. But science clearly shows that emotional health in men is strongly linked with their relationship quality. When a man feels emotionally connected to his partner, his stress levels decrease significantly. His sleep improves. His mental clarity improves. Even his physical health benefits because chronic stress is reduced. On the other hand, emotional disconnection in a relationship can lead to anxiety, irritability, low motivation, and even long-term depression. Now let's understand something very important. Intimacy is not a one-sided need. It is a mutual responsibility between partners. A healthy relationship is not about one person fulfilling the other's needs. It is about both people creating a space where emotional and physical connection can naturally exist. When communication is strong, misunderstandings decrease. When respect is present, emotional safety increases. And when emotional safety is present, intimacy becomes natural, not forced. One of the biggest problems in modern relationships is lack of communication. Many couples assume that their partner should understand without talking. But psychology clearly shows that assumptions are one of the biggest causes of emotional distance. When needs are not expressed, they are not met. And when needs are not met for a long time, emotional frustration builds up silently. Men especially may not always express when they feel disconnected. Instead of talking about it, they may withdraw emotionally or become silent. This is often misunderstood as loss of interest, but in many cases, it is actually a sign of emotional imbalance in the relationship. That is why communication is not just important, it is essential for maintaining connection. Another key factor is respect. In long-term relationships, respect is often more powerful than any other element. When a man feels respected, he feels valued. When he feels valued, he becomes more emotionally open. And when he becomes emotionally open, the relationship becomes stronger. Respect does not mean superiority or control. It means recognizing each other's feelings, efforts, and emotional presence. It is also important to remove certain myths that exist in society. One common myth is that men are only interested in physical aspects of a relationship. This is scientifically incorrect and emotionally incomplete. Research in relationship psychology shows that men deeply value emotional appreciation, support, and understanding. Physical closeness is meaningful only when emotional connection exists behind it. Another myth is that intimacy alone can fix relationship problems. This is also false. If a relationship has unresolved communication issues, trust issues, or emotional distance, intimacy alone cannot solve it. In fact, without emotional stability, physical closeness can sometimes feel empty or disconnected. That is why experts always emphasize that emotional bonding comes first and physical connection follows naturally. Healthy intimacy in a relationship has multiple health benefits that are supported by medical studies. It can reduce blood pressure, improve heart health, strengthen immune response, and improve sleep quality. This happens because emotional bonding reduces stress hormones like cortisol in the body. When stress decreases, the body naturally functions better. This is why people in stable relationships often report better overall well-being compared to those who are emotionally isolated. But again, the most important point is balance. A healthy relationship is not about dependency. It is about mutual support and emotional partnership. Both individuals should feel heard, respected, and emotionally safe. When one partner feels neglected or emotionally ignored for long periods, imbalance begins. That imbalance slowly affects all areas of the relationship, including communication, trust, and closeness. Real love is not just about moments of connection. It is about consistent effort. It is about checking in on each other emotionally. It is about understanding that your partner is not just a role in your life, but a human being with emotional needs, stress, thoughts, and vulnerabilities. When both partners understand this deeply, the relationship becomes more stable and fulfilling. In conclusion, the truth about why men value intimacy is not simple, but it is very clear from a scientific and psychological perspective. It is not just about desire, it is about connection, emotional security, stress relief, and psychological bonding. When these elements are present in a relationship, intimacy becomes a natural expression of love rather than a demand or expectation. A strong relationship is built when both partners prioritize understanding over assumption, communication over silence, and respect over ego. When these foundations are strong, every other aspect of the relationship becomes healthier, more stable, and more meaningful. And that is the real truth that science and psychology both agree on. Human connection is not optional. It is essential for emotional survival and long-term relationship happiness.